get down to business. Thanks for coming out tonight.
I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get.
Oh, I make money move.
You can't see me, my time is now.
What up, guys? Welcome back to the Fitness Times Business Podcast, the show created to provide you with the practical and strategic advice to help you level up in fitness, business, your career, your relationships, and your life. My name is Joseph Mencel. I am your host. Guys, I have a very special guest for you on this episode. Sitting across from me is the world famous Robert Ferrante.
World famous here.
Yeah, mate. I heard. Well, I've messaged you already because it was a couple months ago now, I reckon.
Yeah, late last year.
Wasn't it? Late last year, late in 2020. Good way to finish 2020 off. You were awarded Best Barber in South Australia.
Yeah.
And I said, that's fucking bullshit because he's definitely the best barber in the whole world.
It was a big call. Big call.
I was like, I want to recount.
I was shocked to even get South Australia. You reckon the world, so I'll take that.
This is fraudulent vote counting, this shit. This is worldwide. Man, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you
Honored
for
to be here.
Thank you for making the time. We've been trying to put this together for quite some time now. And we had to cancel and then we had to reschedule and this and that. But we're here now, and I'm super excited because I've known you for a bunch of years.
Yep.
Obviously, we met through Robbie's Chop Shop.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, Rob is the creator, owner, the man of Robbie's Chop Shop, which those of you who follow me on Instagram would see me post about. When I come see you once every 3-4 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I probably should be more frequent.
A little bit, but
once every
busy
3-4
schedule.
weeks, I'm always in Robbie's Chop Shop. Robbie takes care of me, and that's why I've taken extra time with my hair today. For those of you watching the podcast, because
Did me proud today.
Yeah, 100%. But man, I'm excited to have you on the show because your story is quite unique.
Yeah.
And it has ebbs and flows that I know so many of our listeners are going to take so much value from.
Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to business.
Yeah.
Particularly when it comes to relationships, and particularly when it comes to life in general. And that's what we try and do on the show is deliver practical and strategic advice to help people level up in different areas of their life. And I know that you guys are just really going to enjoy this chat that Rob and I have today. So I wanted to start, man, just by getting the Rob Ferrante origin story.
Yep.
Because those of the people who know you at this point, and this happens all the time, right? You see someone who's achieved success, and you see them at that point, and you see what they've accomplished, and you see all of the
success and the glory and the fun stuff.
Exactly. All the fucking rainbows and Lambos and all that sort of shit. But there's always a backstory. And
100%.
you don't often get the opportunity to tell people your backstory. And so that's where I want to start today is, where did you come from? What has been your experience up until this point? Where did Robbie's Chop Shop come from? How did you get it to where it is today? Let's go there.
Let's jump straight in. So I've been in the industry about, I think it's 23 years this year. I started when I was 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. Started, sweeping at a barbershop close to school. I actually wagged school a couple of times to go there. Parents found out. The guys ended up saying, look, we'll give him a little job after school if he keeps going to school, that sort of thing. Did that for a couple of years, loved it. Knew that's what I wanted.
Where did the inspiration come from to take interest in a barbershop?
My nonna was a barber, man, and he used to tell me stories about back in the village, and the barbershop was the place where the guys used to hang out.
Yeah.
They used to come there and tell their stories and talk about world politics and everything that was right and wrong with the world and right and wrong in the village and home and whatever. And
mini counseling session back in the homeland.
The place to be. The place to be.
Yeah.
And I just always was fascinated with it and thought that's magic to have somewhere like that where you can just go and be whatever. There's no better thing, I think.
Yeah.
So that was my interest in it. And it just stemmed from there, and then, got the opportunity to start, and then got sick of school, left school, got a job at a salon because the barbershops were just not as popular as they are obviously now.
Yeah. And just for the listeners and the viewers, the difference between a barbershop and a salon?
The sex.
The gender. Right? So barbershop is predominantly men.
Yep.
Sometimes, and like Robbie's Chop Shop is now, male only.
Yep.
So only men.
Yep.
Salons are predominantly women.
Yep.
Sometimes only women.
Yep.
But generally service females more than males.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's, there was very good and very bad things about going into that industry. Like obviously it wasn't what I was passionate about, but it taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Different ways of, cutting and doing my craft and different experiences with different people. And I got to do a lot of crazy stuff and see a lot of crazy things. And, it's all part of what's brought me here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, jumped between salons and barbershops for a few years and then got to the stage where I thought I was sick of the industry and was trying a few other things. And then met a guy, he had a shop, went and worked for him for a little while. He ran into some problems with his business partner at the time, decided to leave, and I helped him set up a shop on Hutt Street. I was there for a couple of years. He wanted to go one way. I wanted to go another way. Then at the time I had started seeing my now ex-wife, and the shop that she was at was up for sale. So we ended up buying that. And we had that for 8 or 9 years. It was a salon. I think we had at one stage 14 girls working there, busy shop.
Decent sized business.
Decent sized business.
Yeah. Especially for at that time, you're in your mid-20s, right? Early to mid-20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
Never really had to deal with the business side of things. The shop that we had, me and my friend, it was just us.
Yeah.
So there was no staffing issues or anything like that, which is what you get when you go into sort of small business, essentially medium business.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get some issues with that, and then also working with your partner, which I know is, one thing that people are going to be interested in hearing. It comes with its own set of problems and issues and all that kind of stuff, challenges and, good and bad and all that kind of stuff. So, and then, yeah, like I said, we had that for about 8 or 9 years. And I got to the stage where I wasn't happy there. I think it actually happened on my Bucks night. One of my friends, we were sitting down having a drink and having a chat on the night. And he said to me, if you could do anything, if money was no object, if you could do anything with your life, what would you do? And I said, I'd just go back to barbering. I'd just have a chair somewhere and just cut and talk shit and do what I love, and that's it. And he looked at me and said, dude, you can do that. That's like lots of people say these outlandish things that they'll never be able to do because it's just not feasible, and they don't have the skill set. They don't have the financial backing or whatever. He said, you can do that. That was pretty much it. That started me on the journey to looking for a shop, and found the one on King William and started building. And before I knew it, I was there and opened up, and then we sold the salon, and Robbie's Chop Shop just kept growing and growing. And here I am.
And there you go. So you've got, I just want to get to that point and kind of flesh out the last 5-6 years, right? Because people who know Robbie's Chop Shop now, it's the world's best barber. As I mentioned, it's quite well established. You got the big premise on King William Road at Hyde Park here in South Australia. But you didn't just go straight there, right? Once again, you kind of went from the salon with your ex-wife to that was a business, and you mentioned 14 staff at that point. Reasonably sized business, back down to literally just you in the chair.
That's it.
Right. And you have a funny story about you had a couple of chairs set up. But
so as I've told you before, is I picked this spot. It was I think it was about 30 square meters, the original shop.
Yeah.
It was small. It was exactly what I needed. I was happy just to have, me there, just doing my thing. And as I've said to you before, I put 2 chairs in there for aesthetic reasons. That was it. I never thought it would be, I thought, maybe one day I'll use one chair, the next day I'll use the other chair just to mix it up.
Yeah.
But I was like, it looks stupid with one chair. I'll put 2 chairs in. I'll make it look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then, as I said, within the first 6 weeks, it just started to boom. It was in an area where I'd grown up. I hadn't lived in the area for close to 8 or 9 years. So almost me coming back to the area, I had a lot of local friends and family in the area and a lot of people who wanted to show me support and get the word out and all that kind of stuff, which, I'm forever grateful for. A couple of family members have shops on the street as well, which was really good. So before I knew it, I was in way too deep and had too many customers for me to handle. Yeah. And my 2 best mates are barbers as well. So I said to them, please, if either of you could do a day a week and just help me out when it's, busy and all that kind of stuff. And that turned into, 2 days a week each and 3 days a week and so on and so on. We were doing some big hours. We were doing 7 days a week, 12-hour days. I took 2 days off in the first year. Yeah. I just smashed it.
Grind, man.
Yeah. Just getting it done. And the boys loved it. They, we were just having fun. I mean, hanging out with your 2 best mates day in, day out, talking rubbish and making some money and having fun. You don't get much better than that. And then it got to the stage where I sort of had to slide a 3rd chair in. The aesthetics were off. It was ruining my vibe.
Everything.
It was ruining my vibe.
Yeah.
And the back of the shop came up. The guy who had a business in the back of the shop wasn't doing too well. And I turned to him one day and said, look, if you want to leave, I'll take over the whole lease. And that was it. We, within, I think, 3 days, we closed down stripped the shop out, we put 5 chairs in, found a couple more guys, and it just boomed from there again, and it was good. It was, we had a good year and a half, I think, in there like that with 5 chairs and, massive setup, and it was good. And then it got to the stage where I was at the end of my lease. And I thought, wow, do I level up again?
Yeah.
And the shop right across the road came up for lease. And I thought, this has got to be a sign. Like this is, you're literally just dragging stuff across the road. So we did it. We built that. It took us about 2 months while we were still open, obviously. We did it after hours. We put 10 chairs in, leveled up again, and then opened up and went off with a bang, and people went crazy, and all sorts of stuff was happening. And then it got to the stage where I had probably about 14 guys working for me again.
Come full circle again, right?
Yeah. And then it was going for about a year like that. And then I separated from my ex-wife. And it was a bit of a shock. Like, it was not, it was not out of the blue. It had been something that had been talked about on and off. But I didn't realize how much it would affect me just in day-to-day stuff. You know what I mean? Like, just things get in your head that takes you away from what you love. When you love what you do at work, then you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this other thing. And it became sort of a bit hard to do what I was passionate about. And then at that time, I had been approached by my now ex-business partner, who sort of swooped in and said, "No, I'll save the day. I'll take care of the back end business stuff for you, and I'll help with this, divorce, and we'll make sure that you're you're looked after and everything's good and take some stress off of you and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, wow, this is what I need. This is the next step for me is going to be, having business partner and all this kind of stuff. And then that turned into his idea to expand the shop and open a second location. We opened one down at Port Adelaide. And that was okay. There, nothing wrong with it. The shop did relatively well. And then a few months after that, we opened another one in Fullerton. The same sort of thing. That was doing relatively well. But as you know, with multiple locations, they have their ups and downs as well. And when my business partner was at the back end, so he could only, that was his job. He did the back end, the paperwork, the financials, all that kind of stuff. So when something happened in the shop, that was up to me. So I was no longer in my double chair shop doing what I loved and, having a laugh with the boys. I was chasing around 3 shops and managing staff and jumping in when someone was sick and, covering for someone's annual leave day and, this one's a bit busier today. Can you come down and help out? All that kind of crazy stuff.
All the day-to-day operational challenges when you're dealing with, because at that point you got 3 shops.
Yep.
You got 14 guys at one shop. The Port Adelaide, how many chairs do you have in Port Adelaide?
We spread them out. So we had 4 chairs at Port Adelaide and 2 chairs at Fullerton. Yeah. But because we had the 14 guys and we knew that obviously opening the other shops would take away from the main one, we then spread out the 14 guys and, hired one here and hired one there and all that kind of stuff. But we pretty much had around that sort of 14 mark most of the time. Yeah. But as you know, you can't obviously just hire as many people as you want because you have to pay them, So you have to juggle that with the amount of business that's coming in. So then it got to the stage where I sort of looked at myself and thought, am I happy? And I just wasn't. I was not doing what I liked. I wasn't a fan of, I didn't ever want to have more than one shop. Yeah. To me, it wasn't a shop. You know what I mean? It's not a business. It's a passion. Yeah. It was, this is the place where I do my stuff and that's it. It's not a business or a scalable, entity or anything like that. So when I saw it becoming that, it hurt. And then some of the things that my business partner was doing, I really didn't like. So that took me to the place where I was like, nah, I just pretty much the same thing. Just sort of woke up one day and went, not happy with this. And sat the business partner down and said, you got to leave. Done. Thank you very much. See you later. Sold the shops off, kept King Will, went back there, picked, took my pick of the crew, took the guys that were going in the same direction as me, that were there for the same reason. Said, okay, this is what we're doing. We're changing it up. We're going back old school and that's it. Now we're possibly even going to scale it back again, just to strip it back from all the crap that it turned into and bring it back to the heart of Robbie's Chop Shop.
And that's where we are today. Man, it's so many ebbs and flows in your journey, and there's a couple of things that I want to really kind of take a deep dive into, because I think that the listeners are going to be able to get so much value out of these different areas of your life in both business, obviously, because you've had so many different business experiences, scaling business, scaling up, scaling down, moving location, dealing with a lot of staff, coming back to a few staff, being able to start. You've just had, you've effectively packed like 30 years of business experience into like 15, which is amazing. And, it's so valuable to have you share these insights. And then in the relationship, so you briefly touched on the fact that the first proper salon you were in was with your ex-partner. You ended up marrying, you have a girl together, daughter together as well. And then that relationship, you didn't go as planned and you were dealing with that at the same time. So there's so many different bits and pieces. But I really want to start with, you know, obviously you knew from a very young age what it was you were passionate about.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, you mentioned the story with your nono and, you know, just trying to sweep shit up in barbershops and, you know, you kind of like, you knew that was what, you know, was going to set your soul on fire, as I like to say.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, it's similar to me, right? Because I knew that I was passionate about supplements, you know, not as early as you, but kind of similar.
Yeah.
You know, as a teenager. It's difficult to make the decision to go and pursue something like that, you know, isn't kind of up in lights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no one thinks that, you know, okay, cool, you're passionate about being a barber, that you know, you're going to build the number one barbershop in the world, in my personal opinion, but definitely as the people have voted in South Australia for sure. How do you get the courage to kind of go, you know what, I don't really give a fuck what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do, and it's what's going to make me happy. And I know that if I commit myself to it, I can do world-changing things.
Yeah.
I can do world-class things. I can do I can achieve the sort of success that most people will never be able to achieve.
Yeah.
How do you make that decision?
I mean, it all comes down, like you said, it's definitely not for everyone. I know people that are my age now, you know, early 30s, and still don't know what they're passionate about.
Yeah.
I was very lucky in that I knew it very early on. And I'm very lucky in the fact that I've always been able to make money and, you know, survive and sort of work with what I've got and all that kind of stuff. So the decision to jump out of school was another easy one. I hated school.
Yeah.
I always hated school. And I don't like saying it a lot, because I don't like to give people the opinion that, oh, if you don't like school, just leave and you'll be fine. Everything
People can
will just
turn that
work.
into a cop-out real quick.
Yeah,
right?
It's a grind out of school. School's like easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially if you don't like it, because you don't care about the grades and stuff. It's very easy to just stay there and, you know, sort of coast your way through it. But I really didn't like it, and I thought, why am I doing that when I really feel passionately about what I do?
Yeah.
You know, this is what I want. So testing the waters, I was very lucky in the fact that I could sort of test the waters at work and still go to school and sort of juggle that for a couple of years. And then it got to the stage where I just really wasn't in school, and I thought, and my parents said, yeah, cool, you can go. Let's give it a shot. And like you said, it's not a general industry where, you know, oh, everyone wants to do it. It's not, you know, being a footy star or being, you know, this famous, you know, actor or whatever it is that, you know, everyone wants to be. And when I left school, I think I was, from memory, I think I was getting paid $1.86 an hour, which was roughly about $70 a week.
Yeah.
And I used to smoke back then as well. And Peter Stivies were about $6 a packet.
Yeah.
And I used to smoke a couple of packets a day. So I barely pay for my cigarettes with what I was making from the shop. But I always made do.
Yeah.
I always found other ways to sort of, you know, get by. And if you're passionate about something, you can always make it work. You know what I mean? I didn't leave school to make millions of dollars. I left to be happy. And as we've talked about many times, is you get to a stage later on in life, you know, we've found it sort of in our 30s, where you realize that happiness is what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's got to be happiness over everything. If it doesn't make you happy, why are you doing it? You know, you can make extra money for so long being unhappy, but you end up spending that money trying to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And you're in no better position than if you just follow your heart and what you want to do.
It's just a vicious cycle, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that, you know, there's some listeners that can probably resonate with, perhaps they're in school, most likely they're in university and probably just coasting by, and they're not really vibing what they're doing, and they don't really know what they want to do, which is completely fine. Like a lot 100%. Of people, you and I were able to find it at a very early age. Yeah. But at the same time, we had our eyes open to look for it. Yeah. Like a lot of times, people speak to me and they're like, I just don't know what I want to do. I haven't found anything I'm passionate about. Nothing, is the last thing I think about at night when I go to sleep and the first thing I think about in the morning. And a lot of the time it's because you're just not even open to it. Yeah. Your eyes are not even open because you I don't know what it is. Perhaps you're distracted.
A lot of the time it's because there's too many options these days. Yeah. I mean, the world that we live in now is crazy. You can be anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you want to be an astronaut, you could be an astronaut. It's very achievable to be anything you want, which is almost overwhelming in the fact that if I make the wrong decision now, I'm ruined. Where, as we've talked about before, it's not. You can make hundreds of wrong choices, but it's all about how you grow and learn from them and where you go next that's important.
100%.
So, I get a lot of dudes through the shop, that are just leaving school and going to uni and all that kind of stuff. And they go through that thing of, I only got this amount of points. I can get into these subjects, but I don't really feel passionate about that, but I'm doing this so I can get into this later on. And I mean, if you can do that, that's good. But a lot of the time, as you've said, you'll just coast until sort of something falls in your lap or whatever. But it's the sooner you are aware of what you want, the better you're going to be.
The other thing that I find as well, man, is sometimes people actually, they know what they're passionate about, right? They know what they really want to do, but they're afraid of doing it. Yeah. So they kind of turn their back on it, right? They're kind of like,
or it's not what other people would consider a good job or a good career, or it's cool or whatever.
There's three things. It always comes back to these three things. The first thing is the fear of failure, the fear of what if I go and do this and it doesn't work. Yep. The second thing is the fear of other people's opinions, 100%. Right? What are my parents going to say? What's my partner going to say? What's my brother or sister or sibling? What's my best friend going to say? Yep. And then the third thing is self-doubt. Yeah. Can I actually do this? I'm not so sure. Yeah. Those are the three things.
When you're coasting in life, it's very easy to say, I'll leave it until next year, or, I'll leave it till this happens.
Yep.
And
never fucking happens.
Yeah.
Never fucking happens.
Nah. You got to pull the pin.
Yeah. Well, it's about taking risks, man. Yeah. At some point, you got to have the courage to go, you know what? Fuck, I don't give a fuck if I fail. Who cares?
Failing is good.
Exactly.
Failing is good.
This is my thing. I don't understand why there's so much negativity attached to it.
As probably even people can see from this story now, I have gone up and down plenty of times. Yeah. And even now, the fear of failing is not, I love it. Because it's a chance to learn.
It's the only way you learn, man.
This is what I did wrong. This is what happened. How do I fix that and move on from it? Yeah. And I'm at the stage now where I say, all right, I'm almost 35. If I can get to 35 and I'm on the right track, I'm back to being happy again. I tried the multiple businesses. I tried this. I tried that. I'm back to being passionate. If I can do that by 35, I'm blessed. Yeah. 35 is, I feel old as shit most days, but I've still got a big life ahead of me, touch wood. Yeah. But at the same time, if it all goes downhill again, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm always going to be fine. Yeah. I can make, I can turn around. I could lose it all tomorrow. I can always cut hair somewhere. I can always make a couple of bucks. Yeah. I can always work out a way to provide. Yeah. If you have that mindset of you're not afraid to grind to get what you want, you can't fail.
And you know what the other thing is as well, man, is the more that you take these risks and the more that you say, you know what, I'm going to confront the fear of failure. Yeah. I'm going to confront the fear of other people's opinions. I'm going to confront my own self-doubt. The more frequently you do that, the easier it becomes to continue to do that,
100%.
right? It's literally like a skill, but you got to take the first step.
That's it.
You got to take that first step.
That's it.
And it goes from there.
That's it.
I want to dive into I want to get really granular with your business experience, man, because one of the things that a lot of business listeners and viewers, I get a lot of DMs about growing business, scaling business. How do I get my business to the next level? You know, I'm at this certain point in business. I'm trying to level up. What advice can you give me? What did you do? So on and so forth. Yep. And so you've kind of had this roller coaster, really, of kind of ups and downs of business. I think I want to ask a couple of questions here. The first one is about managing people. Yep. So staff management and building culture. And the second one is your personal decision-making process behind, you know what, this is what I thought I wanted with the business, but, you know, it's not really panning out as I thought it was going to pan out. So let's go to staff first, right? So the first, you start small, then you go into the salon, you got 14 staff members. I'm going to make the assumption that at that point, you didn't really know much about managing people.
Not at all.
As we all, you know, the first time that we're kind of like, I remember when I first hired my few staff members, there was no conscious thought given to company culture. There was no conscious thought given to performance. There was, you know, it was just kind of like, I need more people. Let me hire more people.
We had a lot of them from when we bought the business.
Well, there you go. You inherited staff.
It was inherited staff, and it was like, well, these people already have their way of doing things. There was already a certain culture
already embedded.
And then walking into that as an outsider, and it was in, you know, 30 minutes out of the city. Had a completely different, you know, setup to anything I was ever used to. And then, you know, as you said, then having to bring extra people in and they got to deal with this culture that you necessarily haven't created is a massive thing. And that had a bucket load of problems. You know, there was already, you know, there was a lady who'd been there for, I want to say the better part of 12 years. She was already sort of stuck in her way. There was nothing like, she was, I think, maybe 10 years older than me. So me coming in and trying to, you know, do something, she was, nah, this is the way I've been doing it for 12 years.
This is the way I do it.
This is the way it's happening.
That,
and then, you know, a couple of young girls and, you know, then having your partner there. So many different, you know, volatile situations, a lot of good times as well. But yeah, staffing is, I want to say it's a lot easier when you build it from the ground up.
Of course.
When you get to pick everyone yourself is a lot better. You have to learn to listen to your heart and your initial instincts because they're always right. You know, you go through, you know, a hiring process or whatever. When I started Robbie's Chop Shop and, you know, I had my best mates start, that was fine. That's easy. Boys come in, all good. I hired one of my other best mates. I hired his cousin, and he was, you know, Middle Eastern, came here not long before, could barely speak English. I needed someone desperately, and my mate said, he knows how to cut. What do you reckon? I said, yep, cool. Like, I just need help. It wasn't what I wanted, but I needed it. So I did it. Cool, jump on board, teach you a few things. Cool. The next guy worked with a friend of mine in a clothing store. He'd been a hairdresser for 10 years beforehand, got sick of the retail game. And my mate had said to him, friend of mine's got a barbershop. He's looking for people. What do you reckon? Cool. Come on in. he was awesome, unreal. You know, we had a lot of good times. He only left because he was, you know, I think in his 40s and decided, you know, I'm done, all good.
Yeah.
But when you ignore those initial instincts is when you get problems. You know, when you try to just hire someone because I have to hire someone, that's when you get the problems. When you hire someone and go, oh, they know what they're doing, they tick all the boxes on paper, but I don't get a good feeling about them, but I'm going to hire them anyway and see how it pans out. It always goes bad.
Never pans out.
It always goes bad. And it might happen within a couple of months or it might happen in a couple of years.
Man, you know what though? Like it's one of those things where, you know, we can say that and the listeners can listen and the viewers can view and until you go through it.
It does not matter how many times.
Because I got told
I heard it.
Yep.
Exactly. It's a famous story that I like to tell a lot of younger guys when they come into the shop. And, you know, they're still in their party stage and they're going out and they've got all these friends and all this kind of stuff. And I say, I remember this time when I was at a wedding. I was in my early 20s. I was at a family wedding. One of my uncles come up to me. We're having a chat. What are you doing later on? I said, oh, we're going out to town. I'm meeting this person and that person, blah, 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 blah. And he said to me, later on, you'll be lucky if you have close friends that you can count on one hand. I thought, yeah, what are you talking about?
Yep.
I got thousands of friends. I know half of Adelaide.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
I get to my 30s now and I'm lucky. I'm lucky if I got them.
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I got them.
100%. It's one of those things, man, with, you know, not just definitely applicable to hiring staff and employing people. And, you know, my personal business experience is very similar. You know, I've made every mistake under the sun when it comes to hiring people for reasons that I should not have hired people, or ignoring my gut instincts because someone's resume looked amazing. And then 2 years later, when I had to fire him, I figure out that most of the resume was fucking bullshit. You know, like just so many, you know, or someone who was just like a really good people person. You know, just great with people, just lights up a room, so on and so forth, but can't follow fucking procedure if their life depended on it. And, you know, I've made every mistake under the sun. But, you know, definitely the one lesson that I'm really happy you shared, because it's something that I really believe as well, is when you have to talk yourself into doing something.
It's a red flag.
Don't do it.
It's a red flag.
Don't do it. When your gut instinct is saying one thing and you have to talk yourself into doing something against what your gut is telling you to do, don't fucking do it.
Exactly.
Because your gut instinct is made up of experience, and experience never lies.
It comes back to primal instinct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that inside that's going, something bad's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and get you away from this situation.
Yeah.
And then it's outside influences that are saying,
convincing you otherwise.
Do it.
Or sometimes yourself. There's sometimes yourself, you convince yourself otherwise, because I got this problem I need to address, or I need, you know, this certain situation taken care of, or whatever the fuck it is. It's all bullshit, man. And it ends up, you know what? It ends up costing you much more time and effort and money in the medium term
100%.
Than it does just to fucking suck it up and just take your time. It's funny because we're actually going through that at the moment in Massive Joe's. Is like, you know, we're looking for the right people, right? We're calling them supplement specialists at the moment, and we're just taking our time. I'm just I don't give a fuck how long it takes. We're going to find the right people.
But you learn that over time.
100%. It's patience, really. What's you know, aside from that, because one of the things, anyone who's been to Robbie's Chop Shop, you guys have a great culture. You know, you walk in, everyone's joking around, all the barbers say hi to every customer that walks, like it's you know, world class. What advice do you have for someone who's trying to build, who has the opportunity, right? So you got the opportunity, you got a blank slate, maybe you've gotten rid of some viruses in the company and you kind of at square one and you're like, you know what, I want to build a fucking world-class company culture. What advice do you have?
It's hard because obviously not every business is going to be like a lad's environment, like a barbershop. You can't, you know, you can't have that in a corporate world, or in, you know, certain businesses you can't have that. But I think if you're truly passionate about what you're doing, you know the culture already. You know what you love about it. You know what you want as your end goal. what you would expect if you walked into the same business, what would you want to have? Like I tell my boys all the time, and I do it on a monthly basis. I go into other barbershops. I go and see what are they doing, not to be nosy, but to see different perspective. What do they do what do their staff do that I like, that I don't like? What's their setup like? Is it a nice, is it clean environment, or is it, is it messy, or are they cranking music that, might not be something that I would have in the shop? Or that constant finger on the pulse makes a massive difference, because when you get sort of spearheaded into your own business, you sometimes go, oh, these four walls and that's it. But you miss out on that, oh, so-and-so is doing it this way, or so-and-so is doing it that way. Not to copy, but just to have a different idea, different perspective. And I think passion is what it all comes down to. If you're truly passionate about it, you want what's best and the best culture for it. If you can mirror that in your staff, that's it. And that comes down to your hiring process and constant updates and check-ins with your staff. I literally just had a conversation with my brother who's got a couple of pasta shops. I had it with him an hour ago, 2 hours ago. If you constantly check in with your staff as to what their goals and dreams are for the next 3 months, the next 3 years, the next 30 years, if you constantly keep on top of that, you can't have a problem. And if you do, it's very minimal because you're constantly keeping on top of it. As long as they align with what you're doing, there's your culture. You can't have a culture by one guy trying to make a culture and the other people just sort of standing by doing fuck all. Everyone has to have the same idea. And like you said, when you walk into Robbie's shop, everyone says, how you going? What's going on? They want to know. That's the culture. Yeah. Genuine passion.
I just want, if you're listening to this, right, and you're trying to build company culture, you're trying to build a team, you need to go rewind and listen to the last couple of minutes, because I'm so happy you went there, man, because that is fucking world-class advice that so many entrepreneurs, business people, people in positions of leadership within a company, team leaders, whatever the situation is, they just don't do it. Yeah. The way I like to think of it is, when it comes to building company culture is this, right? Is I say to my staff members, this is my vision. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. The first step is to share that with everyone within the company. So if you don't share that, how the fuck is anyone supposed to know what your vision is and what your passion is and what you see, where you see the company heading? So the first thing is to share that. The second thing is to say, you know what? You're giving up your time and your effort and a piece of your life to help me achieve my vision, to help me fulfill my goals and what I'm trying to create. What can I do to help you fulfill yours? It's a two-way street.
What do you want out of it?
How am I helping you fulfill your 5-year vision? How am I helping you fulfill your goals? How am I helping with your fulfillment in all areas of your life? It has to work both ways.
100%.
Or else, it's like any relationship with any person, right?
You're banging your head against the wall.
It's got to work in both directions. And I just think that piece of advice is sharing that vision and having those discussions with each and every staff member on a personal level and understanding what's important to you. What are you trying to achieve? Let me, through this vehicle that I have that is this particular business, how can I help you in my little way?
Let's help each other.
Exactly.
That's the only way anyone's going to get forward.
Yeah. And it works. Yeah. Beautiful. I love that, man.
Good.
I love it.
Good.
What about this, this is recent as well, right? Bringing the business partner on, going up to 2 shops. I had a little part to play with the business partner, and you actually had a couple of people on the side. I remember I had a meeting with a few different people, and we were talking about doing some collabs and whatnot. And I remember thinking at the time, I didn't say anything to you at the time because you got to do your thing, right? Yeah. But I remember at the time, I'm like, this doesn't feel like what I know Rob is trying to do here.
Yeah.
This feels a little
And
bit.
so many people were in the same situation as you where
Yeah.
they saw it happening and thought,
Yeah.
do I jump in? Do I say something? What do I say?
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
said it as well. And I just, I was
Well, you got to do your thing.
I was
right?
doing my thing.
You got to do your thing.
I was doing my thing.
Who knows what that plan is at that point. But anyway, to me, it felt very kind of corporate and very abrasive to what I knew you were trying to do with your brand and your business. But anyway, so this is a couple of years ago, right? So relatively recently.
Yep.
So you've got to the point with the chop shop where the brand is very strong, very, very strong. The business is very, very busy, and you're like, okay, time to level up.
Yep.
What was the driver for that decision? And then what was the driver at the point where you've started leveling up and you've got to the 3 shops to go, you know what, this actually isn't what I had envisioned, and this isn't what I want to be doing. And now I want to try and go back to what it is I actually want to do.
So the leveling up is just because I'm an idiot in a certain way and I just like challenging myself. And I keep thinking, what if I try this? What if I try this? What if I try this? So we went from, the 2 chairs to the 5 chairs to the 10 chairs. And it was all, you got to weigh up the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Right? If I do this and it goes well, this will happen. If it goes bad, this will happen. How do I recover from that?
There's always risk associated.
Always.
Right? With any business growth, right? Any scaling up of any business, it can go really well or it can go really shit.
And as long as you've got a plan B, do it. Right? If you look at the worst case scenario and go, I'm going to lose everything, but when that happens, I can start fresh and I can do this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
As long as the plan B is good, do it. Right? That's always been my mindset. Same as when I had the salon before Robbie's Chop Shop, and I literally was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. Worst case scenario, it goes to shit and I wait a couple of years and I try something else. You
know what, Rob? I have to disagree with you on that because it's not actually a plan B at all. Right. And I'm a big advocate for not having a plan B, for having a plan A, but understanding the risks.
Yep.
Right. Because you've never had a plan B, right?
You're always running
part
of the same plan.
It's all all plan A.
Yeah.
But it's understanding that if I go down this path, there's a certain outcome that looks like this.
Yep.
There's another outcome that looks like this. And being prepared for both of those outcomes.
Yep.
It's still plan A.
Yeah.
It's still the same fucking plan.
I agree with that. I like that. I do. I really like that.
Anyway,
That's a good,
sorry to interrupt,
it's a good way to
but
put it.
I just had to throw my 2 cents in there.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so, and then going to the stage where, all right, the shop's doing well, big shop's killing it, whatever. Business partner comes along. All right, let's try these multiple shops. I sort of had said it to him from day one that when we talked about, what's the vision and blah, 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 I said to him, I just want one shop. It's just got to be this. It's got to be that, Then he'd been there for long enough that he was like, what if we just try it? And he talked me into it. Let's just try it. We've got this opportunity.
There it is again.
Partnering with a brewery.
Having to talk yourself into something.
Let's give it a shot. And he sort of, and he got in there enough that I was like, fuck it. Let's just give it a shot. And I did the same thing. I looked at the pros and cons and thought, if it goes bad, I'm not really going to lose anything. It'll just mean that I have to shift a certain way and try something else. So I thought, why not? But then as that happened, I saw the culture diluting.
Yep.
That was the major reason for bringing it back, descaling. It didn't have the same vibe in any of the shops.
Yeah.
And not only that, when you started to speak to people outside about Robbie's Chop Shop, they didn't have the same enthusiasm and passion that the previous clients had. If people would come to the second or third shop as their first experience, they were not going and raving to their friends, I went to this place, it was unreal, everyone was so nice, like they're just lads, blah, blah, blah. It was like, I got a good haircut and that was it. That's not what it's about. That's not what I wanted for it. So that's where I sort of came to I wasn't passionate about it. I was doing stuff that I wasn't passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's not why I started Robbie's Chop Shop. So bring it back. Take the plunge and rip it all out.
I'm going to ask you a difficult question.
Go.
And I don't know the answer.
Go.
But I'm just kind of putting pieces together, and I'm mirroring my own personal experience as well. Because at the time you're doing this, you're dealing with a divorce
Yep.
and a settlement and all of the emotional trauma that entails.
Yep.
Do you think that there was a little bit of like a playoff against one another? Like, do you think that
100%.
you were, going, well, I've got this going on in my life that's not great.
Yep.
So let me go and kind of balance the scales by going and pursuing this
Yep.
in this area of my life.
100%.
Yeah.
It was everything from, like I said, the business partner came on as a, let me help you get out of this situation. Let me take it, take some of the pressure off, blah, blah, blah. Sold me the whole story. And then at the same time, obviously, if you scale a business up, you're very busy, you're very distracted,
100%.
a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I'm not only working 4 or 5 days a week anymore. I'm working 7 days a week again, and blah 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 blah. That distracts me from what's going on.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So you don't even realize it's happening. It's that businessman mindset of same reason you scale up a shop, same reason you go from 2 to 5 to 10 chairs is because you go, let me challenge myself. Let me distract myself with, my business, which I love. Let me see if I can get some more love out of it to make up for the stuff that I'm going through on the side.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's overcompensation.
100%.
It's, I've never actually put the 2 and 2 together with myself like I have just now, having this conversation with you. And, the time, I think you were a little bit earlier than me when I went through my separation, my divorce and my settlement. But this is the first time I've actually put the 2 and 2 together, as I did exactly the same thing, man. In 2018, it was like, okay, my personal life is like falling to pieces over here and it's really not good.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to overcompensate. I'm
going to distract myself.
It's a distraction. You know what it is? It's a businessman's coping mechanism.
Exactly. It's what we know. It's, I'm not going to go out and get blind drunk or, go on a crazy bender or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw myself into my business and see how crazy I can go there so that I'm constantly on the ball on something. Yeah. So I don't have to think about this thing on the side.
Yeah. It's a huge lesson for the entrepreneurs listening is, it's very easy. And back to 2018 for me, like I made some really bad business decisions. Yep. I look back on them now. Obviously now I'm more experienced and so on and so forth. But I look back on them now, I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, what were you thinking?
But it's lessons.
It's all
the
lessons.
Same thing as if you get to
100%.
the stage where you go, I've got all this life lessons behind me, I can move forward. Mm-hmm. It's way better to have those failures and mistakes than
it is.
Not
it is, and I'm very grateful for them. That being said, had I had this piece of advice that I'm about to give to the listeners and the viewers, it definitely would have been very well received at that point in time. And that is, as businessmen, as entrepreneurs, or as business women, make sure that whenever you're going through periods in your life where there's some negative shit happening in one area, right? So it might be your personal life, it might be your fitness life, it might be family, whatever it is. Don't overcompensate and use your business ventures as a coping mechanism and as a distraction from actually going in and dealing with what you need to deal with in the part of your life that's not going as you want it to go.
Yep. And I think you're a testament to it if we can briefly touch on this.
Sure.
As we said, your separation was after mine.
Yes.
And yours is almost done?
Almost.
Very close to being done?
Very close.
Mine was almost a couple of years head start on yours.
Yeah.
I'm only just getting mine done now.
Yeah.
I think you sort of realized it, dealt with it a lot quicker, whereas mine was like, I'm just going to chuck it into the business and not worry about, like, it'll just get handled. It dragged out.
Yeah.
That is, like you're saying, you need to deal with things and get it done. But as we know, you can get all the advice in the world from outsiders. It doesn't always come to mind, but just remember this talk for later.
Yeah.
When you're going through it and you go, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I need to get into this.
You need to deal with it. There's a big difference between coping with something and dealing with something. 100%. I think, definitely coping mechanisms are there for a reason, right? They let you get a bit of breathing space.
Yep.
They let you, take
fluff on things. Like you can deal with life at the same time as putting this problem, on a shelf, and I'll get to that, and I still got to work, and I still got to, have a family or whatever.
Exactly.
I'll deal with this bit by bit.
But I think that the trap that a lot of people fall into is spending too much time coping with coping mechanisms. And as an entrepreneur, it can be business, it could be partying, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be, whatever. Yeah. Too much time in that coping period and not transitioning fast enough to the actually, what do I need to deal with here?
Dealing it.
What needs to be done? What are the difficult conversations I need to have? What are the difficult things I need to do? And let me actually, take the hammer and fucking hit this nail on the head. Yeah. So, I think whatever your life looks like and whatever coping mechanisms you turn to when you're dealing with something traumatic is, use them for what they're there. Take inventory, get some breathing space. Yep. But then as quickly as you can, actually deal with the shit.
100%. 100%. That's,
I want to, it's a good segue because I do want to dive a little bit deeper into this relationship, and in particular, both of us sitting here are divorced men. We've had a stab at marriage in the past, and it hasn't gone obviously as we initially intended. I don't think anybody goes into a marriage thinking it's not going to work.
No way.
But your relationship, you met your ex-wife quite a young age.
Yeah. Early 20s.
Early 20s. And then went straight into the salon business.
Yep.
Right. And then got engaged, got married, had your daughter together. And then you kind of get to a point where, well, I mean, in your own words, you just weren't happy.
Yeah. We both weren't happy for a long time, but we were going through the motions and, both, ethnic families, and there's always the pressures there of the families. When you're going to get engaged, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have a kid, blah, blah, blah. And you go through these motions and you think at the time it's what you want to do.
Mm.
And sometimes as well, you think, when we get to that next stage, it'll fix, this problem, or that'll make us happy when we're engaged, or when we're married, or when we have a kid, that'll make us happy. And
chasing happiness, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're relying on that outside thing to make you happy.
Yeah.
And that's, as we know, that's not where happiness comes from. It comes from inside, and you have to get that out. So we weren't happy for a long time, and then it got to the stage where we just realized that was the right move. And it's not easy. It's not easy in any form. Talking about the decision, making the decision, pulling the pin, going through the crap that goes with it.
Yeah.
The ups, the downs, the hate. There's a lot of, same as the business mentality that we talk about. It's a pros and cons game. You got to look at, if it goes well, this is the way it goes. If it goes bad, this is the way it goes, and this is the challenge that I'm going to have to come up against.
Yeah.
But always remember that happiness is more valuable than anything. And if you're not truly happy in relationship or at work or in life in general, stop, reevaluate, work out what your options are, and go from there. That's the best bit of advice that I can give.
I think a lot of people find themselves in similar situations.
Yeah.
And, before my marriage, I was in a long-term relationship with my high school sweetheart, right? Like we met in, I think I was like 16 at the time when we first started dating and, through high school and whatever. We were together over 10 years, got engaged, and then, we separated before the wedding. And I think it's a similar situation that a lot of people find themselves in is almost like relationships of convenience.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you meet this person, you're attracted to them. You don't really know what you want in a relationship, but they're kind of there and you're there and you kind of get along.
Yeah.
And, you're together and you've been together quite some time and it's been convenient to be together. So, well,
keep it going and
let's get engaged and, and then let's get married and, let's have children and let's buy a house together and maybe let's start a business together and whatever it is, because it's convenient effectively.
Yeah.
And then you get to this point where it's like, you know what? I never actually had the opportunity to give conscious thought and be intentful about what I want in a relationship, what I want in a life partner, and in particular, what's going to make me happy as a person.
Yeah.
And so many people get to that point, Rob, where they have that realization. Not many people ever do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that must have been incredibly difficult for yourself and your ex-wife to make that decision, especially considering your daughter was involved as well.
Yep.
Talk me through the courage that it took to make that decision.
Well, this is something that not many people know. A year or so before I separated with my wife, my parents actually split up.
Oh.
They had been miserable for as long as I could remember.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, good times and loving home and all that kind of stuff.
Of course. It's not like it's miserable 24/7, 365.
It's not,
there's always
dark
ups and
story. Everyone's, hating on each other.
Every relationship has ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? But when the downs exceed the ups, you got problems.
Yeah. And same sort of thing. They got together fairly young. My dad was or is about 10 years older than my mum. My mum was very young. Dad was sort of going through his, late 20s, I think. But they, stayed together, I think, out of convenience.
Yeah.
They got together. Mum was from Melbourne. They moved over here. It was convenient. They started a family.
Yeah.
Convenient to stay. I'm one of 5 kids. Very hard to, how are you going to manage 5 kids as a single parent, all that kind of stuff. And I was in my late 20s when they split. And I was not surprised. It had been talked about so much. I was not surprised that they were splitting up. I was surprised that they'd actually pulled the pin after, close to 30 years that it had actually happened. That sort of gave me a little bit of confidence, I guess, into going, well, am I happy? Am I just recreating what my parents went through?
Yeah.
And am I going to wait until I'm 50 before I pull the pin? Or am I going to go, no, time to be happy. What do I have to do?
Yeah.
That was a big kick up the ass. Yeah.
What, I mean, it ties back to something we've spoken about already in this podcast, right? Is a lot of people will stay in relationships for convenience, obviously. But when it gets to the point where they're at the stage where they're like, you know what, this is not bringing me happiness, right? This is not bringing me what I want in a relationship. This is not bringing me what I want in a life partner. Once again, they kind of fall back into that trap of, firstly, fear. Right. It's like, okay, well, if I leave this relationship, a lot of the times it's, well, what if I don't find anyone else?
Yeah.
It's like the fear.
Which is a terrible mindset to be in, I just want to say.
It's not the fear of failure at that point. It's the fear of being alone. right? It's
Yep.
the fear of loneliness,
Yep.
effectively.
Yep.
And it is a terrible, to stay in something that's not serving you, that's
Yep.
not bringing you happiness because you're afraid of what exactly, being by yourself. Like, where is that fear even founded on?
It's ridiculous because being alone is awesome.
Yeah.
In the fact that you can level yourself up
Yeah.
and make yourself exactly what you want to be, which then 9 times out of 10 will attract the perfect partner.
Yes.
When you're in a bad spot and you're just looking for someone,
Yep.
you end up with rubbish.
The worst. Yeah.
Because you're not.
That's what you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of leaving a relationship and going straight into another one.
Exactly.
Without giving yourself enough time
without being happy.
Exactly.
In yourself.
Yeah.
You can't be in one relationship and then jump into another relying on that person to make you happy.
Yeah.
That's not, happiness comes from within.
100%.
So you got to get that before you get someone else.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
And then the second thing that keeps people in relationships that they really should no longer be in is other people's opinions.
Yep.
Is a huge one.
Yep.
That was, for me personally, that was massive for me. I was like, man,
Ethnic families, man. That's
wow.
like, what are the family going to think?
Yep.
What's going to, and especially yourself being in the public eye, what's going to happen in
social media,
opinions, what's going
people I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, like all these people are going to have their opinions and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's another fear. That there is basis for that fear, though, right?
100%.
Because you are, we live in a society that judges people for leaving long-term relationships, for leaving marriages, and the way to overcome that, man, is really the only person's opinion who matters is yours.
Yeah. You got to search for that inner happiness.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what people are saying online or what your family's saying or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're truly happy, nothing else matters.
Mm.
And then over time, that stuff dissipates and your family will see, wow, they're actually happy. This is what they're like when they're happy. People will see that. The amount of times I get random people message me now and say, wow, you really look happy these days. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like an outsider can see, wow, he, is genuinely happy now. That's a massive thing. So that stuff comes and goes. When you're genuinely happy, nothing else matters.
It really does, man.
Yeah.
It really does. Last thing I want to talk to you about, Rob, because I think, you're part-time barber, part-time counselor, just the nature of the person that you are. And, the chop shop in particular is one of those places where it's funny because how it's kind of gone from what originally attracted you to the barbershop when you were a kid, right? Through your nonno and how you kind of told that story to it's just a place where, guys can go and just talk and, and just be open and be themselves and so on and so forth. And you've created that now, almost 20 years later in the chop shop. Yeah. But by nature of that, you do get to hear a lot of different problems from people. Yep. Lots. In all areas of life. And, I think that it's given you quite a unique perspective on mental health. Yep. Especially from a male perspective. Yeah. And it's one of these things that, once again, it's still very taboo. Yeah. Like men, especially alpha males, yourself and myself would generally be considered alpha males, are not supposed to talk about difficult shit. Or they're not supposed to talk about their feelings. They're not, they're just supposed to be like fucking brick walls, deal with shit. And just never feel anything. Yeah. And I think that, one of the things that I try and do with a lot of my content, this podcast in particular, and, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have tuned into this that didn't expect you and I to have this sort of conversation, but we're here now. But I think that it's good, right? Because we're kind of showing that it's okay to have these sorts of conversations. It's okay to talk about this sort of stuff. Yep. And I had... I actually had a Instagram Q&A over last weekend where I got asked, what are the steps to dealing with, it was from a guy, it was from a male. Yep. What are the steps to dealing with past traumas that I just can't I'm paraphrasing here, but I just can't, they keep coming back up.
Yep.
I just can't get them out of my mind.
Yep.
And I answered that in a particular way. I'm interested to get your perspective on the way to actually deal with traumatic experiences from a male's perspective.
So Robbie's Chop Shop. Let me start. Robbie's Chop Shop. We are male only. You may not know it. You may know it.
Yeah.
We've been in the news. We cop a lot of
I
flack
remember that.
where we've, there's always controversy. No females allowed inside. It's just for guys.
And it's not discriminatory.
It's
right?
not.
Like that's what you were in the news for a couple of years ago. Was
Everyone's
like,
got
this is
an opinion
discrimination.
on,
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's not the fucking political correctness. This is bullshit, right? We have female only
plenty of stuff, gyms and taxis and
like whatever the fuck,
whatever they want.
You just want to have a place where guys can go, just be guys, and just talk about guy shit,
guy stuff. Whether it's good, bad, whatever, it's just to have a spot.
Yeah,
that is the main reason we are that way.
Yeah,
so that there's a comfortable place for guys, and that has led to, like you've said, a lot of guys coming in and expressing things that are going on in their life. And there's a lot of times where people are saying stuff that I've got no experience on. I have never come up against, I had a guy come in 12 months ago in his 60s, and he was going through bowel cancer. And he couldn't talk about it with his wife because he felt ashamed and all this kind of stuff. And it's for him to be able to talk about that with us. I have no experience in it.
Yeah.
But talking through a few things, we hashed out a few problems, and he was comfortable and happier when he left.
Yeah.
He's now a regular client. He's fine. He's all good. He's in the clear. Everything's good. He's talked to his wife, everything's sweet. But being able to take that first step and having somewhere and someone you can talk to is one of the biggest things. Being comfortable enough to start the conversation, right? The next thing is everybody learns, or most people learn from experiences, right? Good or bad. If you've been through a trauma or something bad, the best way to learn is find someone that's been through similar stuff, work out what they did right and wrong, take the good, do it.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't find someone like that, find someone that's willing to talk to you or talk with you through the journey. Someone that you can check in with. It's the same as, AA meetings.
Yeah.
Drug rehab. It's the same as going to, people have a massive stigma on going to see a therapist. Massive stigma. There is nothing wrong with it. Having someone that you don't know to talk to can sometimes be better than talking to your friends and family, because there's no perception of, oh, you're too strong to be going through this, or that's not the way you think, or
there's no judgment.
There's no judgment.
Yeah.
So in turn, having the barbershop as that sanctuary where you can talk, and it might be the first time you meet these guys or whatever, having someone to talk to like that makes a massive difference. So getting back to the question, the only way to get through a problem is to seek help.
Yeah.
In whatever form it is, right? I think talking to people is the best form of help. It's a good way to get past experience from someone else and use that to your own advantage. But it's also a good way to realize that what you think is the worst thing in the world, and you might be going through a terrible, terrible time, might not be that bad in comparison to what someone else has gone through. And if you can look at someone's life and go, wow, they've been through some real shit and they look like they've sort of got it together now, what I'm going through is going to be fine, and I'm going to come out just as good, if not better. You can't ask for much more than that.
And you're never the first person to go through it. You know?
Never. We've been around, human beings have been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
This shit is as old as time, you know, whether it's
really
you know,
is.
relationship or work or, you know, really bad stuff. You're not the first.
Yeah.
And you won't be the last.
100%.
So learn what you can, get as far into your future and your happiness as you can.
Mm.
And then I like to say to people, take the time when you can to help someone else, right? Find the time to, even if it's just once in your life, just go and help someone for no reason.
Yeah.
It's
good karma, man.
Yeah.
It always comes back to
100%.
you. I have, to add to, it's beautiful, man. Thank you so much for sharing that and, for showing effectively that having the vulnerability to have the conversation is okay.
100%.
You know, you don't have to feel any sort of shame about it. You don't have
Nothing
to
at all.
feel any sort of judgment about it.
It takes balls.
It takes courage.
And courage.
Yep.
To take that step.
100%.
So make it with pride
Mm.
and then follow the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my, the way that I answered this question in my Instagram Q&A over the weekend was the first thing, and we've touched on it in this podcast already in this episode, is to stop coping and start dealing.
Yep.
Is the first thing. So have your little, take inventory.
Yep.
Have your coping mechanisms. Do what you got to do. Get to the dealing phase as quickly as you can.
Yep.
Then stop running. Start confronting. And I think that this is something that a lot of guys struggle with as well, is actually feeling the emotions that you need to feel instead of fighting against them and going, you know what, I can't feel sad. I can't feel upset. I'm not, I think angry is probably acceptable, but I can't feel these sorts of non-alpha emotions.
Yep.
The more you fight against them, the harder they're going to fight back.
100%.
And you're never actually going to be able to confront them and feel them. So that's my second point, is stop running, start confronting. And then the third point is everything you've spoken about, seek counsel.
Yeah.
Lean into being vulnerable
100%.
with people that you can trust. Have the conversation. Go and seek someone who you know has been through the same life experience. And the funny thing as well, man, is one thing that I've come to realize is that when you do seek people who have been through similar experiences, they're more than happy to talk about it.
100%. 100%.
Like I've never had a conversation with someone who I've gone to seek counsel, and I'm like, you know what, it's kind of difficult for me to talk about this, but I'm having to deal with this at the moment. I know that you went through a similar sort of thing. Do you have some advice for me? Never once have they said, fuck off.
No.
Not talking to you.
No.
Never.
Why would they?
They're always like, man, absolutely.
Here, doors open.
Let me, what can I help you out with?
Yep.
Let me tell you about my experience. Let me give you my advice.
Yep.
I had a conversation literally last week with one of my mentors about something that I'm going through regarding the ending of my marriage and settlement and whatnot. And he was literally open book.
Yeah.
Like literally open book. What do you want to know?
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I dealt with it. Let me tell you the pros and cons. Let me give you my personal advice. You would be surprised when you seek counsel and you lean into that vulnerability and you go in with just no fear of judgment, how much valuable information you'll be able to get from whoever you seek it from.
Yeah. And that's, like we've said, people need to go through mistakes and tough times to learn.
Yeah.
And usually when that's happened to you, like you said, you're more than happy to help
Pass it on.
someone else.
Yeah.
That's, and if you can shave time off of someone else's suffering, why would you not do it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? No one wants to see anyone
Pass
suffer.
it forward.
That's it.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a great,
This has been good.
great chat.
This has been
great
good.
podcast.
It's weird to be talking like this without having the music cranking at the shop and all the
I know,
chop shop
right?
stuff. This is nice.
This is like Joe's shop.
Yeah.
This is where I have these conversations with people on podcasts and we go deep. Man, thank you so much.
you for
I
having
really appreciate you making the time and having this chat and being the open book that we've just spoken about. Nothing is off limits with you. And you said to me before we when I hit you up and I was like, man, is there anything you don't want to talk about? You're like, nah,
let's do it.
Just whatever.
Let's just
and
do
so
it.
we've gone there and you've been true to your word. So I just want to say thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Real quick for the listeners and the viewers, where's the best place to, obviously Robbie's Chop Shop, right?
Yep.
But where's the best place to find you? Instagram handle, Google.
Instagram, Robbie's Chop Shop. Best place. We're always on that. If you want to book, robbischopshop.booksy.com. We've got the new booking system set up.
And that's Booksy, Booksy.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. If you look on our Instagram or our website, you'll find the link to book and all that kind of stuff. robbischopshop.com, maybe.au. We change it a few times. I don't know, but
just Google, man.
Google
will send
Robbie's
you to the
Chop
right,
Shop. It'll come up. A couple of news articles will come up, but you'll find the website eventually. And
awesome.
That's it.
And guys, the one thing that we ask in return, if you have enjoyed listening to this show, if you've enjoyed being a fly on the wall between Rob and my conversation, if you've taken some value, if you've taken some entertainment, if you've just enjoyed the show, the one thing we ask in return is that you share the show. Can be person to person. Next time you're talking about the most recent thing you've seen on Netflix, the most recent song that you've listened to, the most recent podcast you've listened to, drop Fitness Times Business in the conversation, or share on Instagram. Take a screenshot right now, share this in your story, tag myself at Joseph Mencel, tag at Robbie's Chop Shop, and Rob and I will see those tags and we'll repost them for you guys as well. And we appreciate the love. Rob, thank you once again, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, my man.
Thank you.
Guys, until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Fitness Times Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, and if you enjoyed listening to this episode, make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.